3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. Welcome to the Middle of Podcasts. I'm your host, Marco, and this is an episode that we're doing together with someone who I've been listening to lately. She and a friend of hers have a podcast together, which is really good, entertaining. Nakita. It's a good vibe, that they have going on, and I think I started listening to them last year. I think that's when they started as well, or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Just want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe, share with peoples, and like the videos, and even like on Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the whole thing. Today's guest.
Oh my gosh.
Who are you, ma'am?
Who am I?
Yeah.
Yo, that question, I don't know how I'm meant to answer that. It's like, I don't even know who I am. That's a very loaded
I know
question.
who I am.
Who am I? My name is Charity.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I am.
Yeah, how wonderful. That's all we need to know.
That's
Thank you
it.
so
Thank
much
you
for
so
coming.
much for coming.
See you guys
It was
next
nice.
week. Charity, great. Charity, how old are you, Charity?
I am 22. I had to rethink.
Ah,
Because I recently turned 20. So you know when you like turn a new age,
Yeah,
and you
you
have
forget.
to like adjust, because you're so
panika.
used to saying I am this age. So now like adjusting. So I'm 22 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, 22. Name is Charity.
Mm-hmm.
That's who we've got here today. Charity, being your name, age 22.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do, like in general? Like, what are you currently up to? What are you doing?
I am a student. So I'm in university. So I'm a student. I am a podcaster.
Wow!
I am a podcaster. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I guess I was actually listening to, I don't know what it was I was listening to yesterday.
Yeah.
And a podcaster referred to themselves as a content creator.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, I think I'm just so used to content creators these days being like people who either on YouTube or
Instagram,
people on
TikTok.
Instagram,
Yeah.
So I've never considered myself a content creator because I'm
Don't
not
really?
making videos, I'm not posting pictures,
Yeah.
So I've never considered myself a content creator, but I think I am.
Yeah.
I think I sort of am a content creator.
Stop there. Not you think.
I am.
You are a
Okay.
content creator. No, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a content creator. I have a podcast with a friend of mine called A Mouthful Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
What else do I do? That's mostly it. Oh, I have a food cooking Instagram type of thing. I love cooking, so
Yeah.
I have an Instagram where I just share recipes, share like meal ideas. But yeah, that's essentially what I am up to.
Okay.
At least currently.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
The food thing has piqued my interest. Piqued
Okay,
my
okay,
interest.
okay.
What are we saying about avocados? Yes or no?
Yes. You don't like avocado. I don't know why I came.
It's to put out.
I don't
You
know
can
why
leave.
I'm here.
You can actually leave because like avocados, the thing is like, I don't get them. There's only one thing that I like with
What is there
avocados.
to-
That's like guacamole, and then anything else. Are like, why are we eating?
You're so
mashed
disrespectful.
potato?
You're
Like
so disrespectful. And you don't know nice things. Your palate is very
avocados
childish.
being nice.
Childish. Your palate, childish. Wow. Avocado.
Eh.
I don't want to have this conversation because it is not. You know when there's some
Avocados.
conversations that should not be had.
This is one of them.
This is one of them because I can't understand. I can't comprehend.
Any-
Avocados are so good.
Anyone's to each his own.
True.
To each her own.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Because wow. Anyone's. Okay, so avocados here, yes. I think it's an age-old question, but I don't even need to ask it about pineapple because pineapples are amazing. So
Yeah.
we'll even skip right past that.
No, but I will have to agree. Pineapple on pizza all the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Saka, you know what?
Yeah.
I know. So far, It's a, I think that one overweighs the avocado answer. So
Okay.
therefore we can continue
Okay, we can continue
with this
recording.
podcast.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're going to have to say bye, Charity.
Yeah,
It's been nice
it had to
having
be.
you
I
over.
could not look at you the same, but
Yeah.
at least there's some sort of
Level
middle ground.
playing
Yeah, yeah.
field, something.
Yeah.
And then if you had to like pick a favorite fruit or like, and that's like
Watermelon.
Iowa redemption. Redemption.
There's no thinking. There's no watermelon. General veg. I don't know. Can I say lettuce?
Lettuce is great.
I really like lettuce.
That's a good option. That's
Yeah.
solid. Like lettuce is, you just open the fridge. and just,
I really like lettuce.
Do you have a
Yeah.
snack on lettuce?
Yeah. I knew.
Yeah.
I knew that nothing could tear us apart.
They tried.
They tried.
They bought avocados. They still couldn't
They
win.
still could not
They
win. I
didn't
knew
do it.
nothing
Yeah.
was gonna tear us
Oh,
apart.
I know. Yeah. Going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. Cool. And when did you start your food? I would call it a channel, but it's not a channel.
Yeah, it's not a
But like
channel.
your sort of like Instagram blog of food.
Yeah, let's call it that. I'm not sure. I think 2019, like end of 2019 or beginning of no, it was end of 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I started it. I'd been contemplating it for a while.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I really like food. I like taking pictures of my food, and then someone was just yes, no, literally, I'll go outside. I
Go
would like
by,
the
make sure.
perfect lighting, perfect everything, and people will be looking at me like, girl, just eat your food.
Just fuck a knife.
And I'm like,
My
you don't
whole-
understand.
you know?
And I think my family kind of understands now.
Yeah.
So sometimes, let's say, I remember one day, recently, I cooked, the meal was taken to the table and everything, but I was doing something.
Yeah.
So when I then went back, when I went to like the dining to eat with everybody, and my dad already started like,
Eating and
getting
dishing
his,
and-
dishing
yeah.
his own food.
You're like, no,
and he
no,
was
no, no,
like,
no.
and he was like, sorry, Sha. Sorry, I'll not show them my pictures, but we are hungry. And I'm like, they know.
It's like they used to. They're
Yeah.
like, okay, food, and they're never nice to wait.
Yeah,
And it's
take
like,
pictures, and then, but he was like, I'm so
It's
sorry.
like after praying for the food's gone cold.
And you're
it's
like,
like,
hold on, wait.
let's just,
Yeah.
it's always entertaining. You go to like to eat out and stuff, and then you see everyone is like over, and it's never like that.
Yeah, it's always like,
It's always like
yeah.
at a weird angle, and it's like.
Because it has to be an aerial shot.
Yeah, and people make weird face. Like,
Yeah.
I'm guilty of having done that a couple of times where you make like a weird face and like.
Because you're trying to make sure that you really position it properly.
And
It's an art.
Symmetrical, it's
Yeah, it's
what,
an
what,
art.
what. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
The concept of the podcast come about given, you've got a lot of things going on in life. It's like, okay, I'll do that later. You can put it to back burner, you can do
Yeah.
whatever. How did that come about?
Well, so I'm in uni in Canada. And
Chambo.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
Just mine or something.
I mean, as compared to Malaysia, yeah.
Malaysia's hot.
Fam, I was there over, I want to say 10 years ago. Yeah, it was about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's humid.
Even when it rains.
It's hot. It's sticky.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, even
It's
when
a
it
no for
rains,
me.
it's like 30 degrees Celsius
Yeah.
and it's pouring.
It's
Yeah.
a no for me.
But Chando, guys.
I'd rather.
Winda.
So I mean that's just me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm in uni in Canada, and there's a friend of mine. Her name is Asante. She's the one that I do the podcast with, and I remember we were just having a conversation, just like a normal
Chat.
chat. Yeah, just a normal chat. In one of our dorm rooms in 2019. Yeah, it was end of 2019. And we're just talking, and it was just like really interesting conversation. We're talking about things that were, I don't remember what the conversation was about.
It was just entertaining.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think it was, we were talking about like being international students and just like a lot of the drama that comes with that, or the different experiences that we've had, all these things, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, wow, this was such an enlightening conversation. Like I think this was such a good conversation that we need to capture.
Yeah.
So I was like, I've always wanted to have a podcast. Then she was like, what? And I was
Let's
like,
do it.
I've always wanted to have a podcast. And she's like, oh my gosh, I have always wanted to have a podcast. Oh my. Let's start a podcast.
Let's do it. Okay, I've got a recorder. You can do the internet stuff. Oh my word. Let's go. What do we call it?
It was not even like that. It was just like, I want to have a podcast.
Yeah.
I also want to have a podcast. Then that was it. then we didn't do anything about it for months, and we just kind of forgot about that conversation.
Yeah.
And then at some point, one of us brought it up, like, yo, we should start a podcast.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, let's actually get serious about wanting to start a podcast. And we're just like, we'll do it. We're just leaving because it's so much. There's so much that goes into producing a podcast and having a podcast, especially if you want it to be of decent quality.
You are preaching
Yeah.
to the choir.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
so,
like I get you. Yeah.
So it was like, okay, we need equipment. We need somewhere to film. That's like not film, record, because our podcast is not visual
and audio.
Yeah, it's just completely audio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're like, we need somewhere quiet to record. We need mics. We need thing. The mixer thing.
Yeah.
It was like there's so much equipment that's needed.
Yeah. And
it's
also
just like,
what's it called? You also need to find the right. You know, your RSS feed, Chakuti, what.
Yeah,
like,
all that stuff.
lot.
Yeah. So I think we were just, we'll do it at some point in time. Just kind of putting it on the back burner just because we didn't want to go through the whole finding mics, finding all this equipment. And then our university opened up it's like a media space.
Okay.
Or like, not a media space, like a creators hub.
That's cool.
Essentially.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
And basically this creators hub has like a laser studio where people can do like laser printing. Yes.
Oh, me, I was like,
laser printing.
It sounds a lot like medicine. I was like,
No,
y'all just walk in and
no. Laser printing. It's like I don't even understand it. It's so fancy.
3D.
3D printing. So many different like media things, like a VR room.
That's dope.
Then there was a studio as well, like a recording studio.
Yeah.
With everything we needed. So mics, the mixer, the iMac, all these things, and we were like, it's a sign.
And what was that
It's a
like?
sign.
To be fair, there's no bigger sign than that. After you've
There
had
really
your
isn't.
conversation,
Yeah,
it's
there
like,
really
hey, here you go.
There you go. We are giving you literally everything you need for you to start your podcast.
Yeah.
So we're like, we have no reason not to now. Like, we have no excuses. So that's kind of what then propelled us to actually
to
go ahead and do it. Yeah, and then we started the podcast early 2020.
Yeah, because we're there, I'd see Mouthful, and then I was there like, I'm doing stuff. So me doing chores, I'll be just listening, and I'll be like, I listen so much that like I wouldn't have, like, you know how when you start a podcast, especially people, because your voice and Asante's are similar in a way.
Really?
They sound somewhat, to me.
Okay.
Like I can tell the difference, but like I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like the first like maybe few minutes I was like, who's talking? You know
really?
what I mean? Yeah.
No,
Then after
I
was
get
like,
it though.
okay.
I feel like I do the same when I start. Yeah, I think it's just a normal thing.
Yeah.
When you start listening to a new podcast, and you're like, wait, who's who?
Yeah,
And it takes
which
a
one?
while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I remember listening and I was like, this is entertaining stuff.
Oh, thank you.
No, it's good content, guys. Please. I am going to put the link in the description. That's for like, those who are watching on YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube and you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any podcast streaming website, A Mouthful Podcast, they're dope. Or I will try put one of those thingies at the top. Like somewhere. Yeah. Click here. Or in the or down below. It's gonna be one of those.
Yeah.
And then you guys can listen because it's great stuff.
Thank you.
But even that said, did you ever have a moment where it was a bit daunting to start? Because like sometimes when you then like, even when I had to start, I was like, okay, I'll record, yay, fun. Then I had to decide, is it going to be visual or audio? You know what I mean? I've gone for both, right?
Yeah.
But even with that being said, there's I have to record, there's a camera, there's this. Even for you, there was, there's this, there's that, there's that. But even when it's there, it can be overwhelming. I don't know if you know what I mean. Like, you're like, oh my word, there's so much that needs to be done. Did you ever have that feeling, or were you just like, okay, fine, and like, how long did it take you to learn how to use all this equipment and all these things? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of trial and error.
For me, I think I was just very excited.
Yeah.
I was really excited to be doing it, to be using all this again, all this equipment was new. It's fancy. It's like,
ooh, what is this?
I was like, yeah. So what is this? It's really. Like the studio that we record in when we're there is, I mean, right now I'm in Zim, obviously because of COVID.
Yeah.
So
COVID.
So I'm here, and Asante is at home as well. Asante is South African, and so that kind of changed everything. But the studio was just so nice and so cool.
Yeah.
All the equipment was there, so I was just really excited.
Yeah.
To kind of like learn all these things and everything. Yeah. So that wasn't really daunting. I just, I guess, taught myself how to use the editing software, how to use the different softwares, and just like Googled things I don't know.
Yeah.
I think what was daunting, for both myself and Asante, I think at different points was just fear of now putting out the content. Cause it's like, okay, what if, cause our podcast is it's a very opinion based, if I should call it that. I don't know how I
get how you say that, yeah.
Yeah, it's different from the middle of podcast where he's interviewing people, right? Like you're interviewing people, you're getting a snapshot into different people's lives and just kind of learning about people's different experiences, you know, because, you know, we want to know that stuff. Yeah, we want to know that. Exactly. Whereas our podcast is not like that. Our podcast, another thing, actually, sorry, I just need to break here.
Yeah.
If people, sometimes I say podcast, sometimes I say podcast. So I'm not trying to finesse an accent. So I just need to put it out there. I'm not trying to finesse an accent. It's just very, I switch because I'm in Canada, and that's like a very like almost American way of speaking. And having been there, you pick up on a lot of the a lot of the little nuances and the little whatevers.
Yeah.
Where some things I still have like a British English accent.
Wow.
So Magans, want you to do any podcast, nobody podcast, just let it go.
Look at you.
I just had to point it out in case people are
so
like
funny. Podcast. Is that how she even talks?
Yeah.
Is that who she really is?
Yeah.
Honestly, at this point, I don't know anymore.
You don't know.
We're just gonna go with it.
You don't
podcast.
Whatever. As long as
yeah.
That's all
they
that matters.
Talk, but she record.
Yeah. The only reason that I bring it up is someone mentioned it, especially when I first came back home after being at uni. And they're like, "Oh, you say that like this." And I'm like, it's not conscious. It's not like a conscious decision. It's just a thing that happens.
Yeah.
So just a disclaimer.
YouTube.
Yeah, you know, so if you just let it go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the fear was then putting it out there. Just like, what are people gonna think? You know, did I say something wrong?
Yeah.
Am I being politically correct?
Being on that political correctness thing? Because also because in certain cultures it's okay to say certain things.
Yeah.
And also, I guess for you with the political correctness thing, are you then having to factor in? Are you thinking more of we have to be correct in general, or you're like, okay, most of our listeners are. This is the general demographic. Or you're just like, shy, as long as we just cover all bases?
No, I think I think we learned to really just be authentic and really be ourselves.
Yeah.
And just say it as it is. Oh yeah, like what I was saying previously, I confused myself and just went to different things. When I was explaining what the podcast is like, it's basically us, whatever topic we decide we want to talk about that day, or whatever is going on in the world that we think is interesting or fascinating, we'll have a podcast on that. So we have episodes on like cheating, we have episodes on ghosting, we have episodes on our faith, so it's whatever is going on and whatever we find interesting, and we just talk about it, give our own personal opinions and experiences around whatever that is. So I think we then realize that we just need to be authentically ourselves and just say it as we feel it, say it as we mean it, and then it's in the editing process. When I'm editing, if I ever hear anything that's a bit like out of pocket,
I like it.
I'm like, okay,
so
let's scratch that out. Let's scratch that out. But for the most part, it's never, because I think we know each other. We know that we have no ill intent. We know that our minds and our hearts are in the right place. But this is going out to the whole world. You want to make sure that you don't
that people who are out there also understand, because they don't have that personal relationship that you have.
Or they won't understand the context.
So to you, there would be certain things that would be said as a joke, and it could be something that could be controversial taken out of context. It's just like, okay, let's make sure the base is
Yeah.
covered. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, it doesn't happen often.
I think you sort of mentioned that you talk about your faith and stuff like that. And what do you believe?
Yo.
What faith? What are we holding on
that
to?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm a Christian.
Okay.
So I'm Christian. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I am saved. So.
And sanctified.
Won't he do it?
Hallelujah. Or the Zimbabwe. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. That's good. That's good. That was a good one. So I'm Christian and so is Asante. So I think that's something where we also bonded over, because not a lot of people that we were surrounded by in Canada were Christian. So it was nice to have that. That common ground and be like, because I think that's what grounds us.
Yeah.
That's like our core or our main focus or the thing that we need. Everything else we don't need.
But that's
the one thing that we need. Yeah, that's the center of our lives. So I guess it's hard when you don't have somebody to
share that. It's just sometimes it's nice to have like someone be like, yo, I was reading the Bible today.
Yeah.
Did you notice that, Tribal Judo is the biggest one? Wow.
Yeah.
And, then it's like, and you get into like conversation and it's like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, or even if you're going through something, sometimes you want somebody to tell you, well, scripture says this, so you'll be fine. Whereas, you'll be fine.
Or you're wilding.
Yeah.
You need that one to be like, hey, you relax.
So that's something that that I think helped our bond as well, the fact that we're both Christian. So we speak about it in our podcast.
Yeah.
And I think it just comes up in
general
conversation. And you just like pop in scripture there, not because you want to.
Romans chapter.
Yeah, but it just comes up.
Okay. And I think that's something that you can also be like a fair bit conscious of when you are making your content. Do you ever then think to yourself when you're making content, like, obviously when you're giving your viewpoint, that influences your viewpoint. When you're making your content, how does that then like connect? Do you then have to think about certain topics and be like, I don't know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I want to say anything about this, or you're also like, I'm still learning about this, so like you're a bit more cautious about talking about certain things in the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, how does your faith and belief in God then interact with your content? Because you can be a Christian content creator, so like you're specifically making content that is 100% just Romans, Matthew, John 3:16, for God so loved the world, and that's what you're talking about. But you can also have content that you are Christian and you're making your content, and do you ever think about like, is what you're saying aligning with what you believe?
That's a very good question. Look at you.
Okay.
That's interviewing Oprah Winfrey 2.0.
Were you silenced?
Were you silent?
Or were you silenced? We asked me hard-hitting questions at the middle of podcast.
That's a very good question actually. I think well, we are not Christian content. No, we are Christian content creators, but we don't make Christian content
like
per
explicitly.
Se. Yeah, we're not like.
So it would be like, for example, when you're choosing your thing, it wouldn't be under like religious. It would be under like society
it's under society.
But
and culture.
you still do bring out.
But we will here and there will have a podcast episode either like directly related to our faith. Like we have like an episode that's literally just our faith experience, and that's all we're talking about. But it's not like that's all we talk about. We, like you said, I think it's important because I think sometimes when people hear that you're a Christian and that you're also a content creator, sometimes people have this thing of now you only have to be creating Christian content. Like
if you say anything that is outside of what, not even just what is deemed to be Christian content, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of, anything can be anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a lot of the times it's like, no, this is the only thing that Christians are allowed to talk about.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, there's a lot more that we can tackle. And
if it's like 1%, it's still,
one of the biggest things, like even if you can help one person's life
You've helped a lot.
You've helped one, and because we live in a very community-based sort of world. When you help one person, you've helped their my mimi, my guru, my
right.
Basekulu. And you don't know, like, you've helped their uncle or whoever. So you've done more than help one person, which most people don't see beyond.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like, I guess I never actually think of that, but you're right. Once you help one person, I think helped people help other people.
Yeah. And even then, you've sort of removed a stress from someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
and that's valuable.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's valuable. So I definitely want to be valuable. I want to be valuable in Zim.
Yeah.
So the hope is to the motherland. So the hope is to give back to the community somehow, some way in that regard. And then with our podcast, I think we...
wait, sorry. So you're thinking of coming back?
Oh, absolutely.
Another one.
Absolutely. I just
Let's
can't
build
imagine.
this country, bro.
I can't imagine. My thing is, though, what's different about me is that my reasoning, or my main reason for coming back, isn't really about building the country.
Yeah.
It's more of, this is home.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine raising my family and raising kids out there by myself. I think community, you know how they say it takes a village? I truly, truly believe that.
It's true.
You know, and it's so difficult. And I can see it from some people out there who don't have any other family, that it's really hard even trying to find help for the kids. Of course, people from church will help, but it's never the same.
You can go and be like to your mom,
I'm like, or like I'm bringing, or I just
not
go.
even she'll just see them.
Yeah, I'm just like your grandchildren.
Yeah.
And she's not going to say no, or and nyare.
Yeah, she's probably even happier.
She'll be very happy, and goals for the podcast is just to just keep doing what we're doing, man. I think just continue being a source of joy for people.
Yeah.
You know, a source of like laughs.
Yeah.
A source of because we're not necessarily like we do encourage people here and there.
Yeah.
But I think
it's also just like good.
It's just good vibes.
And it's just a vibe.
Yeah, just good vibes and just making people laugh.
Yeah.
Like that's something that I value and I treasure. So just to continue making people laugh, reach a wider audience, just get better and improve on our craft.
Yeah.
And maybe one day also do a visual version of it as well. Because I know some people are visual, they need to
visual
see. Yeah, they need to see. So maybe do that one day. But then it's just really tricky. Because with this, when Marco told me, oh, by the way, it's visual. And I'm like, now I can't come in my pajamas.
Yeah.
I can't come
like
in
I
I can't just come looking anyhow. Yeah, I can't just come looking anyhow. So that's a bit like, and even right now, I'm like, do I look at the camera? Do I look at you? Do I look at the side? Seems like a lot.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot. So right now we're going to stick to audio.
You learn through it.
And we'll keep the visual stuff to you guys. You guys can continue. You're doing great.
Thank you. No, thank you so much. Also, we'd just like to, you know what, there's this one brand that I recently found out about. They do some really great dried fruits and veg. Worth trying out. They're called raw dried fruits.
Raw dried fruits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll send you the Instagram.
Okay. I love dried fruits. So
I might put it down in the
down below.
In the
make sure you subscribe and like,
comment, and share.
Yeah.
But I'll share it with you. They make some really nice dried fruit. There's Zimbabwean as well. I think they do deliveries. You can also pick up.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
They're pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was great hearing about A Mouthful.
A Mouthful Podcast on Instagram, A Mouthful Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Shameless plug.
You can't be ashamed to try to get your thing out there.
Shameless plug. But thank you for having me. It was great.
Sure thing.
Thank you for listening to my rants.
I've
been ranting a lot. So
thank you. Yeah, for it. That's why, I don't know if you want to share your own deets or no, like your own socials or no.
My Twitter is charity_Vimbai.
Charity Vimbai.
It's a vibe down there as well.
Aye, we like it.
It's a vibe over there.
Oh, very content.
My Instagram is also Charity Wimbai, but it's Charity Wimbai _. Yeah, those are my socials.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. And yeah, we will catch you in the next episode. Make sure to follow at T_O Podcast on Instagram and on Twitter. Yeah, and also if you want to follow me, Mako _Cads, MAKO _KADZ. Otherwise, yeah, catch you in the next episode and see ya.
Why are you looking at the camera like that?
Do introduction, intro.